talking about a victory coming to this live stream. Oh, how it feels good. That's all I got to say. It feels amazing to be coming here for a victory rather than for a loss. That's all I can say. That's really all I can say. Man, it's so different. Shout out to the Bulls for really being able to pull themselves together. They held on. The Trailblazers went on a little mini run there, but the Bulls were able to hold on. Were able to respond. They did end up winning the third quarter and the fourth quarter. They won both quarters in the second half, and it was important. I don't want to call it a big win, right? Because this is a game that the Bulls should have won regardless, but it is an important win for the Bulls to get back on track. Tony fucking Bradley in this game. 10 points from Tony Bradley coming off the bench today, 6 rebounds, 3 steals from Tony Bradley. This was good. And as much as I do crap on Tony Bradley, and I still would rather him not be on my team, right? I'm holding true to that. I would rather Tony Bradley not be on my team. When Tony Bradley does have a good game and he's locked in on both sides of the ball, he definitely makes a difference out there. And considering, I know we have a game stretch, but we're going into games against, preparing for games against Philly and Phoenix back to back, especially in that Philly game. If we can get a good Tony Bradley game against Philadelphia and Vooch playing much better than what he did the first 2 times he played them, it really does change the outlook of that game. But I don't want to get too far ahead. We got 3 games before then. But this was a good game. This was a good team win, and I do appreciate seeing the way that our team played today. Who didn't score a lot in this game, but his contributions was felt. Io with 11 assists. The way Io runs the team, man, I really do appreciate it. Not almost every starter in double digits except Dosunmu in this game. Then we're getting double digit contributions from both Coby White and Tony Bradley, and then 9 points from Matt Thomas on top of that. When we get that type of production, it seems hard to beat. Over 30 points off the bench for this team today. We talk about how much bench scoring means, especially for teams that want to go on deep playoff runs. It was good to see that from this team today. McCollum, Anthony Simmons as well. They're really good. Powell almost killed us in certain ways as well. Portland has a dangerous team. Just wait till Dame gets back. And the fact that Portland's probably going to be able to add a lottery pick or use that lottery pick to bring in another star, Portland's going to be dangerous for years to come. But I'm glad that our Bulls team was able to pull out the lead in this. Coby White continuing to display just how improved he is as a player. He had some possessions in there where it was his defense, not just his offense, that really kept us in this game in certain ways, and his contribution showed in there. He didn't have the type of scoring half in the second half that he did in the first half. He still scored very well, but Coby White and some of the passes Coby made as well. 6 assists as well from Coby. You get 18 and 6 from Coby White off the bench. That's a huge contribution there, as well as 3 rebounds from Coby. Only 1 turnover. That's the thing. Only 1 turnover. Only 2 turnovers from Zach LaVine. No, Zach LaVine had no turnovers in this game today as well. He had some times there that were down the stretch where it looked like he was going to turn it over, but he was able to hold on to it. Again, and one thing with this, nobody played over 35 minutes. We've been talking about DeMar and Zach's minutes, them playing 37 plus minutes sometimes to keep their minutes down, to be able to hold on to a lead. That's why holding on to leads are important. Fresh legs, stuff like that. Let's go ahead and get into the comments, man. RJ, Io's a steal. Absolutely, my brother. Alex Flores, I don't even know what that's to. Tony Bradley used cheat codes from GTA in this game. Listen, hey, I don't know what it is, but I do appreciate when we get good Tony Bradley showing up, because it does. As I talked about, it adds so much to this team. Ryan Redinger, great passing in this game, yes, and great movement off the ball too. That is they have to come together, because you can just move the ball around and pass, but if nobody's moving, it's going to be easy for the other team to force turnovers that way. You have to have movement, player movement off the ball as well as ball movement, and we got both of those tonight, and those were key in this game. What's up, Haize? How you doing? I'm good, doing good. Zach Lasagna, how you doing, brother? Jeff Green Javante had a hell of a game. Definitely, Javante hit basically every open shot that he took, and that's why when I say and I talk about the power forward, I know players are talking about like Jeremy Grant and things like that. Why I say we don't need players that need offense called for them is because a player that can hit open shots in the nature of just the way that this team operates is going to be much more dangerous than somebody you have to call offensive sets for. Javante hit his open shots today. Imagine adding somebody with some size who can also hit open shots. It's going to really change the outlook of this team and in this offense as well. That's why that's why Patrick Williams, for people who are like, well, Patrick needs to be more aggressive, you can allow him to come along, because the way that Javonte Green got his points today was effort and open shots. Not needing to have offense called for him. And it's going to be key to be able to keep that freedom of movement going on with whoever we end up bringing in, if anybody does bring in. No Tyler Cook in this game as well, which was crazy. Let's see what we got. Somebody slapped the person saying we should listen. It took everything in me for Petty Roosevelt not to come get him. It seems when we score very high, the opponents do also. Yes, I mean, again, I don't know. We're not the best defensive team, and that's just what it is. But if you get into when the Bulls play enough solid defense, right? When they play solid defense, it's going to be tough for anybody to score with us. Then even looking at what the Trailblazers had to do, they had to shoot 40% from three and over 50% overall from the field just to be able to match with us. They shot 46% from three, 51% from overall from the field goal. That's the type of game that you need to have to even be able to match with what the Bulls can do offensively. More times than not, if they playing solid on defense. So with that being said, you got to look. The league average is not 46% for 3 points. You take that away. You take that aspect of Portland's game away. This is probably even more of a blowout. So yeah, I mean that's why the defense is important on the point of attack. Tony Bradley bitch ass showed up. He definitely showed up today. Definitely showed up. McKinney had all the time to rest, and he can't even make a layup. Listen, go and check my most recent tweet. I tweeted it right before I came down here. Not Tony Bradley. Alfonso McKinney needs to stay the fuck up off my team. Period. I don't need to see Alfonso McKinney get anything that you win tonight. It makes sense, right? It was in crunch time or garbage time, whatever else like that. But if you actually need to call him for minutes, just bring in Malcolm Hill. Just bring in Malcolm Hill, because Alfonso McKinney's terrible. Tony Bradley was the beneficiary of some great passing. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But he held on to the ball. That's one thing that's been missing with him for a lot of times is he isn't able to hold on to the ball. He absolutely did. We had a Tony Bradley signing. I don't know who this is from Ricky Fontaine. I don't know who was number 13 tonight. Never seen him before. Never seen number 13 before tonight. The Bulls made a new signing. Okay, Haize, now you can let all the fans know to calm down. I'm not saying this is game 7 of the NBA championship, but they see the Bulls can play for sure. Let's see what else we got. Seemed like CJ scored 50 points for sure. Jeff Green, this is what happens when we pass the ball. Brendan, it looks like he just aggravated that groin injury, so they just had him sit down. He's still on a minutes restriction, and what the announcer said is that he was supposed to be able to get a little bit more minutes in this game, but as soon as it looked like he pulled that, they called him out. Let's see what we got here. Somebody must have gave TB an Adderall before the game, because I ain't never seen him this locked in and focused. Whatever they did, don't keep in mind. Sometimes sitting on that bench is the motivation that you need. Seeing Tyler Cook get his minutes in games, right? And Tony Bradley go from getting the de facto backup big minutes, because he was only backup big, to Tyler Cook getting those minutes hopefully made Bradley realize, hey, I need to get my shit together. Now, if we can get even 80% of this Tony Bradley consistently, it completely changes a lot of things for us. Completely changes a lot of things for us. I'm not expecting this type of output, but 80% of the way that he played in this game, every game, the problem is we've been getting 5% of it. But 80% of it completely changes the way our bench plays. Sorry, I had a daddy moment there. Young Stingray 03. What's good, Haize? Beautiful win to the Bulls. Dosunmu had 11 assists and 7 points. Clean look in the box score. Yes, absolutely. That's what, especially when everybody else in the starting lineup is scoring, you don't need Io to score. And the thing is that he still passed up some open shots, right? But when he did that, rather than it seeming like it came out of a fear of not shooting, it seemed like he was passing up some open shots to get better shots for the players around him. And when you have every other starter in double digits, as well as 2 bench players in double digits, and you only get 7 points from Ayo, it makes sense because he had those 11 assists, played that good brand of defense. There were a couple of possessions out there when Ayo was rotating on 2 and 3 different people in a possession just because of the way everything went, as well as 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 turnovers. He needed to get that down as well. But this was overall a really good game from Ayo Dosunmu. Ayo Dosunmu, good game from him. I know everyone is talking about Grant, but I think Paul Millsap would be a great addition to the team if we can land him. Again, that depends. Brooklyn has not released him yet. I think they're still shopping him around to see what they can get him on the trade market, and it makes sense because I think Brooklyn, don't forget how competitive NBA front offices are. They know that if Paul Millsap gets to the free agency, he's probably coming to the Bulls. Do they really want to give their competition the one thing that they're missing? So that it's probably some strategy on the part of Brooklyn Nets to really see, hey, is there any other team, any West Coast team that y'all can give us anything for Paul Millsap, because we don't want to let him, and not just us, any Eastern Conference opponent. I love to see grown man taking care of business. C-Red, absolutely. IR most dangerous passer again. A little bit. Butterfingers turned into honey fingers. The movement everyone gets back, the moment everyone gets back, the league is in trouble. As long as, well, yes and no, because the Bulls, keep in mind, some of the issues have been rearing their ugly heads for the whole season. If the Bulls can keep movement needs to be the thing. Motion needs to be the thing. Ball movement, player movement, and activity on defense. That needs to be the thing. As long as that can happen, yeah, absolutely. Producer HAC, though Ayo is developing to a really good passer, Ayo is developing to a hell of a passer. Hell of a player. Bradley got bit by a spider. You know the rest. At Run With Us, you funny. I must have missed what Run With Us said. I skipped a couple of comments. Millard. I always get that mixed up in your name. What up, Haize? A win is a win. Now, if the Bulls would have lost, they still would have won, referencing the NBA draft positioning. Tony Bradley was a cheat code in my Cloud9 mindset. 68 and 64 and 18 bound. Listen, man. No. But it's going to be a good season. Vuce had a damn good game. He absolutely did. I can't believe people today on the Mailbag episode wanted to say Vuce is Carlos Boozer. Carlos Boozer wishes he would have gave the Bulls the contribution Vuce does on his worst games. So, yeah, that's my thought on that one. Stacey King, don't hang out with that punk Nick Friedel. He was backpedaling on Give Me the Hot Sauce podcast. Hey, Nick Friedel, listen, Petty's coming for him. Petty's coming. 1, 2, Petty's coming for you. Coby had a good game, but holy shit, the Trailblazers couldn't miss from 3. Yeah. And the Bulls were defending the 3 pretty well, right? It wasn't just a thing where they weren't defending it well. This is why you don't give up on Vuce. You don't get a number 1 option willing to be the number 3 and make up and gives you a double-double. Let's keep in mind, Vuce on a winning team probably isn't the number 1 option. He's probably number 2 option on most winning teams. But yeah, his willingness to be the number 3 option, his versatility is, well, let's fuck what the option he is. I don't even want to get caught up in what option he is, because that doesn't really matter. What Vuce gives you, again, to go back to this, top 10 to top 15 in every statistical category amongst all centers. That's not somebody you just, even defense, you just not somebody you just shake and just say that he's not worth it or doesn't have a place on this team. Haize, make sure you address to the fans that they seen the real Bulls team today in the comment. Well, that's the thing. This still isn't not the real Bulls team, right? This is not the real Bulls team because we're missing so many key players in what the Bulls do. That's the scary thing, is that the Bulls can score with anybody. We know we have as long as we got DeMar, Vuce, and Zach LaVine, we can score with just about anybody with the league, no matter who you put around them. You add Kobe's contributions off the bench. You add a game like this from Tony Bradley. You add Matt Thomas, who his shooting was really good today. They can score with anybody. It's the defensive intensity and effort that need to be maintained. As long as they do that, yeah, you can't. Yeah, we can beat anybody. When this team plays with a good level of urgency on both ends of the floor, we will see a lot more better showings like this. Nice win. Absolutely, Gio. Absolutely. We're going to Brandon L. Jet. Hey, thank you as always, bro, for contributing and supporting the channel at the level that you do. Benedict Arnold getting body. It's going to happen. It's happening. It's happening. Sorry, y'all. The dogs and the cat got into it real quick. Had to mute myself. I was going off on animals. Put him in the cage. You all right? All right. Io fucking Dosunmu, bro. Sign, bro. It's just way too good. Bro, like who would expected this type of contribution, this type of play from him this early into his career? Not many people. Like, yeah, I think even people who were the highest on Io Dosunmu weren't expecting this quite yet. Trade McKinney Thomas for Paul Millsap. Listen, the Nets aren't going to take that. That's, again, keep in mind, we're their competition. The Nets aren't just going to give us a player that we need like Paul Millsap, even for that. They're going to ask for at least a second round pick, So, and that's still not to say that that's worth it, but I still don't even know if they do that deal. The Brooklyn Nets may not even be answering calls from the Bulls when it comes to Paul Millsap. Do you think our last game against the Blazers motivated us to play? Oh, no. Listen, the Bulls, they lost against the Spurs to pick and roll. They were already coming into this game motivated. They were already into this game motivated. They did not need that at all. Super chat. Hey, thank you, producer. Keep up the great work, Haize. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you, man. Go ahead and give Io his contract extension. Listen, they can't give it to him early, but yeah, the thing is that it just depends on, like, I really hope, because he was a second round pick that only signed a 2-year deal. He can get paid when he's a free agent. And the thing is, he's from Chicago. He seems to love it here. And I really hope that his agent doesn't get in his ears like, hey man, you can get 15 million. You can get 15 million. But yeah. Brandy and Nicole, you already know what Brandy was going to tell y'all. Get them likes up, man. Hit the likes. I don't even know where they are at right now, but get them likes up. Tony Bradley can't catch a cold in Alaska. He caught it today. He caught it today. Vooch, not Boozer. Vooch, not spraying Big Yang in his hair, just screaming on the court for no reason. Get him, Joe. Get him, Joe. Oh, we did it, Joe. Good. Somebody do a meme of Boozer's head on there. We did it, Joe. The Bulls give that win to the Blazers so they can make the playoffs, so we can secure their first round pick. What? No, ain't nobody tripping off that. Do we need to sign anyone? Maybe players just need to find their form like Bradley did. The thing is, Jack, is truth. Who wants to bet on that? Like, Bradley has been so inconsistent. It'd be one thing if we got this game from Bradley more times than not. But we've probably only gotten maybe, and this is me giving him credit, maybe 5 games of this version of Bradley, right? So because of that, you still want to, if you can get somebody more consistent, you have to do it. Not just hope that Bradley's going to be able to put together a playoff series or to maintain this level of play. If you can get somebody who's more consistent over the course of their career and a veteran, somebody you can bet on in the playoffs, maybe with some playoff experience, you absolutely do that deal. Can you put a trade deadline clock so we can hear all the great trade ideas for shits and giggles? Although would not surprise me if Acme. Listen, they may surprise us. I'm doing a trade deadline live stream, so I'm going to start an hour before the trade deadline. We're going to end an hour after the trade deadline. It's going to be a call-in line. We're going to have fun with it. But yeah. Haize, thanks for being here after games. Fun to talk. Io is getting some great minutes for his growth. In a way, these injuries might fast track his potential. He can grow without too much pressure. That is a good point there, my brother. Good point. I think our future depends on how much money Zach wants. After watching Draymond's podcast, it seems Zach, well, he can only get the max or the super max. Like, so it's not like we know, and the Bulls are planning for that. Even with that being said, keep in mind, yes, Zach's extension is going to kick in next season, but Troy Brown Jr.'s contract, Derrick Jones Jr.'s contract, Tony Bradley's contract, Vucevic's contract. So almost everybody, not this offseason, but between this offseason and next offseason, the Bulls can get right, but not to say they'll get under the cap, but they'll have more than enough to do things. They'll have their mid-level exception, things like that. They have young players that they can keep on and bet on their progress. So I don't really think Zach's contract in the way that some people think are going to be what determines the Bulls. And don't forget, we have a front office that gets creative. Look at the way that they use expiring contracts to bring in DeMar, to bring in Zoe. Like shit, we brought in Zoe for fucking Sato, a first round pick, and I forgot who else, and Garrett Temple. So like this front office is creative enough to where I don't necessarily think it's going to be as long term as an issue as some people think that it will be. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Again, I'm not a capologist by any stretch of the imagination, but I think we'll be fine overall. Bulls better come out Tuesday and punch them cocky Magic players that were talking shit. Listen, I want to see a blowout, and I don't usually call for that, right? I always try to keep it on. I think the Bulls can win. I think they can win easily if they do things. I want to see the Bulls Magic City. This fucking sucks. What, nigga? Everybody then won in Magic City, so I'm not worried about that. The Bulls, I do want to see them. Go in for sure. Do you think Al Horford would fit better than Paul Millsap? I mean, at this point in time, Al Horford's a better player. Yes. So, yeah, but I don't know if Al Horford's even going to be available. So, Petty Roosevelt needs a show to blast all the BS trade machine suggestions. I'm so tired of trade machine screenshots, man. It's so crazy. I know you're not a big fan of predictions, but what do you think our record will look like at the end of the season? What seed do you think we end up with? I think, listen, if the Bulls can get back to playing with this type of energy and effort on both sides of the ball, I think the Bulls at the lowest 3, maybe 4 seed if we get into another injury or anything like that. But I don't see this team being lower than the 3 seed. I just don't. East is tight. We'll see if it maintains and stays that way. But yeah, at this point right now, I don't see the Bulls being lower than the 3 seed. That's what I'll say. And, considering that at one point in time when everybody was healthy, we were the top 10 in both offense and defense, that's going to be good for us. And yeah, we and the thing is, for those that I don't want to cause any concern towards people, but there's a complete possibility Alex Caruso may not even be back in the playoffs. They said he will be reevaluated in 6 to 8 weeks. Now, typically that for the Bulls has meant that they'll be back by then, but this is a broken wrist. There are a lot of small bones in the wrist. So just keep that in mind. But even without that being said, I really do think the Bulls have enough. They need to keep it together, stay focused on how they play, and I think the Bulls have more than enough to keep winning. And then they can go on a long and a really good stretch towards the end of the season as they get everyone back. So it remains to be seen. Seeing your previous pod before trade Zach, and before seeing it, I'm like, not you, LOL, no, Zach staying for at least 4 more years. Oh yeah, that's what people, and it's so funny. Like I could tell by the comments, people who didn't watch the video and just left a comment seeing the title, and it's like, y'all got to be better than this, man. Y'all got to be better than this. Like, I don't get it. But hey, it is what it is. Hey, want a bag of chips for Lonzo Ball? KK trade complete. No. What? No. What? You're crazy. Are you talking about New Orleans doing that? Because that's definitely not what the Bulls are doing. Petty Roosevelt is just too busy messing with that damn trade machine. Petty Roosevelt doesn't touch the trade machine. Yes, Bulls will stay top 3 and 4. Yeah, for sure. That biatch, Grayson Allen. Oh yeah, by the way, obligatory. Fuck Grayson Allen. The Bulls had the best offseason last year, but do you see them having a better offseason this year? It depends, right? Because you got to think, with the stars that this team already has, yes, they're limited what they can do cap space wise, but they have their exception. They have a trade exception as well. So I definitely think that while the Bulls won't have as many moves, I don't think in the offseason, I definitely think that the Bulls, for a player that wants to ring chase and can still contribute and is looking for a team of, okay, where can I have the perfect mix of being able to contribute and being able to sustain maybe another 2 years or whatever to search for a title, the Bulls have to be towards the top of that list. So I think the Bulls are going to have a pretty good offseason for the next few years for sure. I mean, we gave a bag. Oh, yeah, for sure. See, and again, this is where people say dumbass shit without knowing. The title was accurate. Go and read the title. The fuck you talking about? Like this is what I mean. People talk without knowing what the fuck they talking about. Go and read the title. The title is very accurate and it says exactly what the video is. It's just people like you react without knowing what the fuck they talking about. What would you do to what? I feel like Zach is 2/3 complete. His threes aren't there. This is this is his only problem right now. Yeah, I mean, he'll get there. He'll get there. Jeremy Grant, Jalen Green, Javonte Green, Jeff Green. I got you. It's not reading it. It's just thinking about it. The big man showed up today. Absolutely. What do you think New Orleans will do with Zion? Man, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know. At this point, at times, like I'm sure teams, if they wanted to make Zion available, but then it's like, would they really do that? I really don't know what they do with Zion. I really don't know. They need to get the tank from DB Dragon Ball Z and let him sit in there for like 6 months. That's what they need to do. In Acme, I trust they will get creative this offseason to still build depth, get a backup big, stay competitive, and develop young players. I agree with you. People dead ass will comment dislike shit before even watching the video, and apparently now even fully reading the title, right? Because the title specifically says, "Should the Bulls trade Zach LaVine?" and more hot takes from Bulls fans. People are just retarded. Like it's really sad that these are adults, right? That these are adults that do shit like this. It's crazy. Do you think Tony Bradley can play better after getting his confidence up? No, because he's had other games like this and it hasn't not. I don't know if he scored necessarily double digits, but he's had other really big games. I don't even think it's a confidence thing with Tony Bradley. I think it's a skill thing. That's what I think it is. Haize, how do you think of the Bulls' new plan of reuniting all the greens so you get hella confused? Listen, man, I'm just going to say green. I'll let y'all decide which one I'm talking about. I think the gap in defense is when the other teams making a run like the third quarter, but putting in late rotation to get rest. Zach DeMar. No, it's more than that. I kind of detailed this in my most recent video, pre-recorded video, is that it's more than that. It's the Bulls started off the season with having a player like Lonzo Ball out there with the starters that reads other teams' offenses very well, and he talks to the team. You're able to better rotate when you have somebody like a coach on the floor that's telling you, "Hey, they're about to do this. Watch out for this. Hey, look out." When you have a player that's communicating to you with that, it makes you don't have to be as smart defensively because you just have to listen and then read and react. And then you have Caruso coming in who does the same thing as Lonzo in that, and they're both versatile defenders as well that way. So I think what's happening is that it's not just the resting. I'm not saying that doesn't play a part in it, but I'm saying that we don't have the defensive IQ players that are also verbal and help their teammates be better defenders. And the combination of that is giving up for those big runs. So somebody has to tell Coby White to slow down. Yes, like I get it, but keep in mind, I don't think he had any turnovers in this game. But it works for him. We've been talking about he had one. We've been talking about for years that Coby White is one of the fastest, or was said to be one of the fastest players in this draft, and he didn't use it. When his shot's not falling, if we want to see him put the ball on the floor, he's going to have to start using that speed. Now he's going to have to start being able to read a little bit better, but I don't necessarily think it's slowing down thing. I mean, maybe a little bit in the game will probably slow down to him a little bit more, but we're still seeing a player that's growing and learning this new role that they do. He went from being a point guard to really coming off the bench and almost having the green light in many ways, depending on who else is out there and what's going on. So it'll come along. It'll come along. Let's see what else we got. I'm just looking forward to seeing our whole squad back together because, man, we are a scary team with all of our players back. Also, what do you think we will finish? I just talked about this earlier. I think at the minimum the Bulls finished but 3 or 4 seed. But it just we'll see how they stay afloat. The Bulls need to open up a can on Tuesday. A can of whoop ass from Stone Cold? Absolutely. We have seen all kinds of combinations of lineups this season. For me, it seems clear the point that either Lonzo or AC has to be playing for this team to hit its peak, both even better. I wouldn't say that. It definitely helps, right? Especially if you're talking about peak defensively. Definitely. But, and I mean, in most lineups, you would have one of them out there. Io's developing, but yeah, I think right now you definitely would want to out there for the defensive aspect in it. But offensive, in many ways, we're almost more dangerous offensively when Io's out there. And I'll go into detail with that, but maybe on another video or something. But yeah. Every time he hunches over and drives to the paint. Oh, talking about Coby. We have to remember Kobe's only 21 years old. Will be 22 on the 16th of February. He needs time to fully develop. He's almost there. I mean, yeah, that's when fans want to give up on players early into their careers. Yeah. For anything that you can say about Io's potential and how he can still develop being so young, you have to automatically apply that to Kobe as well because Io's older than Kobe, and then even more so to Patrick Williams. So yeah, that's why when people are saying like the Bulls quote unquote have to go all in doesn't necessarily have to mean giving up on players that can keep your team and your franchise and be a contributor part to the roster for many, many years. So like Kobe, his scoring right now, even with his inconsistencies at time, Kobe coming off the bench and being able to score and put up numbers the way that he does is rare in the league. Every championship team needs a player like that. It just depends on what else is going on, whether they can re-sign him and if it's worth it for him long term. But then as well as Patrick Williams, we already know Patrick Williams, you don't give up on a player that was when he was 19 was guarding some of the best perimeter players in the league, and you just change his position from being on the perimeter to being a 4. You don't give up on that. And I think people are, like I've said it before, people are so ready to just say and feel like, oh no, this is exactly what we need to contend, that they're ready to just throw everything away, and that's not necessarily the best for the long-term health of the team either. If our bench produces even half of what Lonzo, Caruso, and Derrick Jones Jr. bring, that's scary within itself, and that's not including starter production. Absolutely. Where do you see Io Kobe's game in 3 years? Kobe, it's kind of harder, right? I would say it's harder to dictate with Kobe because Kobe's shown improvements on defense that I just didn't expect to see from him this soon. So scoring wise, I think Kobe is fine. He needs a little bit better decision making scoring wise and trust his ability to put it on the floor and get to the hole a little bit more. And if that floater keeps developing, offensively he's set. The defensive part of it, can he continue to be a solid defender and play within the team defense? But yeah, Kobe, it's hard to say with Kobe. With Io has the potential right now. I'm willing to say it, and he probably, not all potential is realized. We're just talking about potential here, right? Io has the potential to be one of the best two-way guards in the league. Period. When you look at like there's 30 starting point guard positions in the NBA. He projects with right now, right? And like I said, he may not hit this, to probably be top 12 point guards in the league, just when you look at the intensity defensively and everything else. So, yeah. Ball Hawks, hey, thank you, brother, for the super chat. I appreciate that, man. Haize, what up, big dog? If the Bulls don't get it done this year or next, will Acme pull the Theo Epstein and hire Joe Madden type of or another coach with more NBA? I said that. It's funny. I said that on my video today. I think that really, if if the same issues with the Bulls team, and that is like being outcoached by more strategic coaches, if for some reason in this playoff series that we have this year in the playoff, if it ends with Billy Donovan just getting outclassed and outcoached, the timeline starts on Billy Donovan then. I think this playoff, what the Bulls do in this playoffs, if they just win because they don't have the talent or something like that, that's different. That's where AK and Eversley know what they need to do. But if the Bulls are losing because of they're just getting outcoached by things like pick and rolls, the timer starts on Billy Donovan's tenure of being the Chicago Bulls starts then. right? As far as it being coming to an end. And I would say that looking at it, I would say, I'm not saying they will like fire him in the middle of next season or whatever, but by next offseason, especially if the same thing happens in the playoffs again after that, Billy Donovan's out of here. I stand on that. Haize, I laugh at how many people jump off the boat after a loss. This team is still settling. Now, the COVID and injuries have slowed and stopped. You will see ups and downs, but the consistency will be there. I hope so, brother. I hope so. Well, it's Michael now. Keep in mind, it's Michael Reinsdorf that's running the team now, but that's the question that remains to be seen. And I talked about it in the video. There have only been 4 teams in the luxury tax era that have won the title without going into the luxury tax. And one of those were the Thunder. Well, 2 of those were not the Thunder. 2 of those were the Warriors teams, and that was only because of Clay and Steph, Draymond. Those players hadn't got their big extensions yet. That's what allowed them to sign Kevin Durant. They were still under the luxury tax when they signed Kevin Durant. So it doesn't happen often, and they've always said that they will pay the luxury tax for a championship contender. So hey, that remains to be seen. I don't know. I really don't know. Since he's in the Super Bowl, that is crazy, man. That's wild. That is crazy. Crazy. Wait, so I'm not from Cincinnati. Don't put that on me. I'm not from Cincinnati. I'm not even from the state of Ohio. They're not my Bengals at all. But I'm happy though. The state's gonna be really loving it for it. But let's see what else we got. Retribution. What's up, bro? How's it going, man? It's going good, brother. It's going good. Dad in the building. Yes, Cincy. Not gonna lie, I thought Iowa was overhyped at first, but damn, this guy's something special. Hope he stays on the Bulls after his contract is done. You and me both, brother. If Torrey Craig is bought out, would you like him on this team? He's a good on-ball defender as well. Keep up the good work. I'd definitely be interested in it. I'd definitely be interested in him. Again, I really think if we're talking buyout markets, it's really just who's bought out. I think that anyone who's bought out, if they can play the 4/5, they're probably going to be looking at the Bulls first. What happened to BKR? He was here. He was here last night, right? Or no? Oh, I think he was here for. I know I commented on him. Was it the halftime? No, it was the pre-recorded video. So he was on that today. But yeah, he hasn't been in any lives. But keep in mind, there's a huge time difference. All right, but that's it for me for the guys for today, guys. Go ahead and I'm gonna wait for any last comments, but I'm gonna go ahead and prepare to wrap it up. It's Family Sunday, so I'm not gonna stream as long as I would like during the week and stuff when my kids would be asleep. So. Reginald Short, I'll be damned since he won. Skip is going to talk shit about Patrick. Listen, between the way they lost the Super Bowl and this, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. The Cincinnati Bengals are in the Super Bowl. I just knew they were going to find a way to mess it up. That's crazy. That is crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Wow. All right, that's it for me for the guys for tonight, guys. Make sure you're following the podcast from at Bull Central Pod. You can also send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. If you want to leave us a text or voicemail, you can do so at 773-270-2799. I appreciate you guys, man. But like I like to end every stream, every episode on Go Bulls. Love you guys. Peace.